Chapter 12, Convergence. Dueling is magic. A Rip in Time. Chapter 12, Convergence.
Paradox. Wait a minute, Shining Armor,
said Yusei.
How do you know about that? Just who are you?
Shining Armor sighed.
We really don't have time for a lot of explanations, Yusei,
said Shining Armor,
but if you have to know, fine. I'm Twilight's older brother and nephew-in-law to Princess Celestia. Celestia told me and my wife Cadence about all of this shortly after we were married last year. I don't know how she knew it would happen and she wouldn't tell us, but she knew and it's all come true. Now, will you please follow me? I found a wormhole that will take us straight to Paradox.
Yusei nodded. He got up, picked up Fluttershy and laid her on the seat of his D-wheel, then turned back to Shining Armor.
Lead the way,
he said. The mountain shook. Dirt slid down the sides and rocks rolled beside it. A deep growl could be heard echoing between the taller mountains. A purple dragon burst through the top of the mountain. He looked around, fire burning in his eyes.
Applejack,
he said, and started digging. Spike furiously threw the rebel aside, burrowing deeper into the mound. His claw struck a magical force field.
Ouch,
he said.
Wait a minute.
He continued digging, slowly this time, brushing the earth away from the barrier. Standing over Applejack was Princess Celestia.
Princess,
said Spike.
What are you doing here? No time to explain, Spike,
said the alicorn as she lowered the force field. Applejack had covered her eyes with her hat, and now peeked out from under the rim.
Well, I'll be Princess Celestia,
she cried happily as she hopped up.
Am I ever glad to see you? It's been too long, Applejack,
said Celestia with a smile.
But I'm afraid we don't have time for catching up. My sister is saving Rarity in another era and we are to meet at the Singularity. The what now?
Asked Applejack. She turned and looked up at Spike.
You know what she's talkin' about, big fella.
Spike said nothing, but nodded.
All will be revealed when we get there, Applejack,
Celestia said.
For now, we must hurry. There is a rip that will take us to the Singularity. That's where we'll meet everyone else, including Paradox. Then I guess we'd better get movin',
replied Applejack. Twilight's eyes went wide as she cried out.
Help!
There was a flash, and Twilight closed her eyes, bracing herself for the impact. But it never came. She opened her eyes. She floated in an empty space. Before her was a single light. Rippling wormholes had opened and energy poured out of them into the light from all directions.
Where am I?
Asked Twilight.
You are in the... What's it called again?
Came a voice. It sounded familiar to Twilight.
The Singularity,
said another voice. This time Twilight definitely recognized it. She used her magic to turn around.
Princess Celestia,
she cried happily.
And? Who's this?
She asked, pointing a hoof at a smaller alicorn with a flowing pink mane.
This is my younger self, said Celestia. She and Luna saved you, Spike and Star Swirl from Paradox's attack.
Twilight smiled at the young Celestia. A small, Blue Alicorn peeked out from behind her sister's flowing pink mane, and Twilight smiled at her too.
"Thank you both so much," she said.
She looked back at the Celestia she knew. She was covered in scrapes and bruises, and she seemed exhausted.
"Princess! What happened to you? Are you hurt?" "I will be all right,"
Celestia answered.
"I ended up here by accident. I encountered Paradox and he attacked. I held him off as best I could before knocking him through a portal. I do not know where he is now, but he could return at any moment, so we must be ready." "I don't think we can take him without Yusei,"
said Spike as he floated past Twilight.
"Spike's right, Princess,"
said Twilight.
"We might can try the elements of harmony, but I don't know what good it'll do since he's a machine and not supernatural. Say, where are the elements?" "I'm afraid I bear bad news, Twilight,"
said Celestia somberly.
"I was struck by lightning and I lost the elements. They fell into a wormhole and I was unable to follow. I arrived here and fought with Paradox. You arrived only a few moments after." "Twilight, maybe you could challenge Paradox to a duel,"
said Spike.
"I don't think that's a good idea,"
said Twilight.
"Even if I thought I could take him on, I can't make another dual disc. The one I made during Night Shroud's invasion wasn't just magic, it was fueled by momentum. These wormholes are too unstable for me to get any." "Then we will have to fortify our defenses,"
said Celestia.
"Sully, Luna, what do you know about defensive magic?"
Rarity awoke next to a fireplace.
"Hey, she's awake."
Rarity rubbed her head and sat up. She looked around and found herself back in the Pie's living room. Princess Luna stood over her.
"How are you feeling, Rarity?"
she asked.
"Princess Luna, I'm... oh,"
she said.
"I'll be fine." "What? What happened?" "She saved us,"
said the little Pinkie Pie excitedly.
"I know you've not fully recovered, but we have to hurry,"
said Luna.
"You and I must meet my sister and the others." "Meet them? Meet them where?"
asked Rarity.
"At the beginning of time,"
Luna answered.
"A place called the Singularity." "Sounds like fun. Can I come?"
asked Pinkie Pie as she bounced up and down next to Rarity.
Can I? Can I? Can I?" "I'm afraid it's much too dangerous, little one,"
said Luna.
"And you have a future all your own that must be protected." "But I wanna protect it."
Pinkie pouted.
"It's my future, isn't it?" "It is, Pinkie, dear," said Rarity. "But we need you to be safe. You're too small to fight against Paradox now. But when you grow up, you can help us fight him."
Luna's horn began to glow. A small portal appeared where the fireplace had been.
"Come, Rarity," she said. "We must hurry. I will have to close this portal quickly or it will become unstable." "I understand," said Rarity.
She looked at Pinkie again.
"Take care, dear."
She looked at the rest of the pies.
"Thank you all so much for your hospitality."
Then she turned and walked through the portal with Luna. Where they found themselves was wondrous and empty. A single light sat in the distance as currents of energy flowed into it from various rips.
"Wow, this is so pretty."
Rarity and Luna quickly turned their heads.
"Pinkie Pie,"
they both said. Pinkie Pie opened her eyes. Puddinghead lay next to her. They were safe, lying in a grassy meadow.
Great to see you again, Pinkie Pie,
came a voice. Pinkie looked up. A pink alicorn stood in front of her. She gave Pinkie a warm smile.
Princess Cadance!
Pinkie yelled. She jumped up and gave the alicorn a hug.
Oh my gosh! It's so good to see you again. Did you save me and the Chancellor? Thank you so much. How'd you get here? Where's Paradox? What time is it? Whoa, slow down, Pinkie,
laughed Cadance.
Yeah, I teleported the two of you out of that house just before it collapsed, then I put out the fire. I got here through a wormhole, probably the same as you. I don't know where Paradox is right now, but I know where he will be. And it's 3:15 if that sundial is in the right spot.
Cadance pointed to a stone sundial a few feet away.
Oh, okay,
said Pinkie.
So where's Paradox going to be? The same place we'll be going to, Pinkie,
Cadance answered.
But we have to hurry. Everyone else will be there soon.
Puddinghead moaned and sat up, rubbing her head.
What happened?
She groaned.
A friend of mine saved us,
said Pinkie.
Come on, we're gonna go stop that guy who tried to crush us in that house. What?
said Puddinghead.
Are you insane, Pinkie? He's got dragons under his control. Dragons, I say. We could have been killed. But we weren't.
Pinkie chirped.
Come on, you need to lighten up a little. Now let's go beat that meanapants Paradox. I'm not going anywhere,
Puddinghead huffed.
If you want to get yourself burnt to a crisp, then be my guest. But I have meetings to attend to that will determine the governing body of Equestria, and I'm late enough. I know, Chancellor,
said Pinkie, suddenly very quiet.
It's really scary. But my friends need my help. And I need my friends' help too. You're my friend, aren't you?
Puddinghead stood silent.
Please, Puddinghead,
Pinkie whimpered.
Please help us. I don't know that I can,
said the pony.
Even just laughing a little can help a lot,
said Pinkie.
We can beat him. Just laugh at whatever's scary. Come on, laugh a little.
Puddinghead started to say something, but stopped. Then she smiled.
You have a real knack for alliteration, Pinkie Pie.
Cadance opened a portal and the three stepped through. The darkness was all-encompassing. Rainbow Dash had stopped trying to escape. 3 sonic rain booms had done nothing. She felt like she was drifting. She felt like she was in the world of darkness again. She'd made a deal with evil and lost. She didn't deserve light. She curled up and tried to go to sleep. Then she felt something lick her face.
Hey! What the, cut it out!
said the Pegasus. Then she started laughing.
Hey, come on!
She opened her eyes. 3 huge dogs were licking her face.
Ha ha! Hey!
The dogs kept licking her as she laughed. Suddenly there was a noise behind her. It was like a rattlesnake hissing as it shook its rattle. Dash, laying on her back, looked up. She saw nightmares. She heard the dogs growled. They raised their heads and began to bark. As they did, she saw 3 necks leading to one body.
Uh-oh,
said Dash.
Cerberus!
The dog growled and barked with each of its heads before bounding off into the mess of creatures before it. Rainbow Dash rolled onto her stomach and watched as each of the 3 heads attacked a different beast. A 5-legged imp with a scythe-like head skittered up to her from the dust clouds of the battle.
Loyalty, it hissed. The power to bind power. Mine.
It raised its head and swung it around. Dash gasped as a paw slapped the creature away.
Thanks,
said Rainbow Dash. Cerberus started running.
Hey, wait.
She took to the air and started following the beast. One head looked back at her and barked as its body ran. Dash squinted as she flew behind the dog. It was running toward something in the distance. As they approached, Dash saw that it was a massive set of double doors.
Those must be the gates of Tartarus,
she said. She beat her wings to pick up the pace. Soon she was right beside Cerberus. Another shape made itself known near the gates. Dash prepared for a fight.
Hurry!
Called the figure.
Through the gates, quickly! Hey, I know that voice,
said Dash, and she redoubled her speed. Cerberus barked and broke into a sprint. Dash grinned as Princess Luna came into focus. The princess threw open the gates and the 3 of them rushed through, the door slamming shut behind them. Dash landed smoothly, but then collapsed, completely out of breath. Cerberus' 3 heads panted heavily.
Are you injured, Rainbow Dash?
asked Luna.
Not really,
Dash replied.
I've got a few bruises from that duel I had with Paradox, but I'll be okay. That is good,
said Luna.
But we only have a moment to rest, for we must soon depart through that rip.
She pointed to a nearby shimmer in the air.
Why? What's on the other side?
asked Dash.
That is where we will find our friends, as well as the malevolent Paradox,
Luna replied.
What?
shouted Dash.
Then let's go. I owe him a kick in the keister.
She got up and started running. Cerberus barked with 2 heads and ran after her. Luna flapped her wings and followed them, and the 3 disappeared into the rip. A noise and a flash drew the attention of Yusei and the others to a portal high above them. Rainbow Dash, Luna, and the 3-headed Cerberus flew through it.
All right, where's Paradox?
growled the Cyan Pegasus.
I've got a score to settle with him. Rainbow Dash!
shouted Twilight and Yusei.
At last, we have all arrived,
came another voice. Yusei spun around.
Paradox,
he said.
Indeed, Yusei,
said Paradox.
You may have followed me once more, but you cannot stop me this time. All of you combined do not have the power to halt my final experiment. Then perhaps they need an extra boost,
said another voice. All eyes turned to a portal behind Paradox as discord floated through. In his eagle claw was a large saddlebag, the contents of which were glowing in a full spectrum of color.
Impossible!
shouted Paradox.
I defeated you. You became statue. I got better,
said Discord,
thanks to these.
He flipped open the flap of the saddlebag.
The elements of harmony!
shouted Twilight happily. To be continued. Next time on Dueling is Magic. A rip in time. With a whole host of characters from throughout equestrian history backing him up, Yusei plans to challenge Paradox to a duel to settle the score, get some answers, and reverse the damage he's done to the timeline.
You are essential to my plan, Yusei Fudo. Duel me and all will be revealed.
But when Paradox reveals that he had been planning to challenge Yusei from the moment he formulated his plan, Yusei goes on guard with the intention of surviving a fierce duel. What is Paradox planning, and why does he need Yusei? Will he be able to defeat the time-traveling menace and save his friends and their world? Chapter 13. Duel. End of chapter.